Hello Virgo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Virgo November 2025 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. In this report, I'm going to go into lots of details about what it's going to be like to be a Virgo at this time. This is for you if Virgo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Virgo placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Virgo friends, so birthdays like September 15th through the rest of the sign, or 23 degree Virgo placements through the rest of the sign. You cuspy friends, I suggest you additionally listen to my Libra report, as you very late degree friends there will benefit from both readings. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Annie Botticelli. I've been doing astrology for well over 20 years, and I've been teaching for almost all of that time, and I'm excited to not only share the things that I see that may happen for you this month, but also why, so that you're learning astrology and getting to understand the stars more with every time that you listen. I am going to give you lots of dates this month, even some more than usual, but if you want to have my full list of the sweet and salty dates for November in my monthly written star report, you can grab that free November monthly written star report at anniehelpsyou.com. Or if you don't want to take notes, I will have, all of those dates and even more there. So go to anniehelpsyou.com, grab your free star report, and that will help you to have the visual aid there as well. All right, so let's go into what we see. We've got two zodiac stars this month, Scorpio and Sagittarius, and we are finally out of eclipse season, so we can breathe a sigh of relief. Not to say that anything can't happen at any time from that eclipse cycle, but once we get out of the season, really it's more of just kind of getting to the new normal from what just happened in the end of July, August, September, into October. We had a lot of changes that came from that cycle, and now we're sort of at a resting and integration point. So that's very exciting. Also, we finally stopped the spree of having more salty, I use salty to describe challenged aspects, versus sweet. So for a few months now, we've had more challenged aspects compared to sweet ones, but that changes this month. So we're back to having a better ratio. So you will feel that this month as well. And there is something else important to know about this month from the general perspective, and that is that we are covered in Mercury retrograde. All right. So I'm going to get into that in a little bit here, but I want to make sure you understand those energies, because it will very much change how you experience the month to know that information. But I want to start to get into some of this zodiac star info, and then we'll dive more into Mercury retrograde. All right, so this month we've got Venus moving into Scorpio. We've got the sun there. We've got Mars for a little while. We also have that new moon at 28 degrees on November 19th in Scorpio. So this is a month of emotion, high emotion, strong emotion, deep emotions, and that water energy flows very well with your earthy Virgo placements. Earth holds the flow of water. It is affected by and molded by the flow of water, but it contains that, and there is a synastry there. So when there are water transits like this, there is a natural kind of speaking your language thing going on. So you will feel that. There will be important conversations that have to be had. There's going to be a lot of re-evaluating, re-looking into, reconsidering going on from the retrograde. And so you may find yourself having those very important talks, looking at money, especially shared resources, other people's money, spousal money, savings, stocks, anything having to do with money, government money, loans, taxes, estate things, inheritances. Those topics will be very strong at this time. And if you have to proactively look into things like that, then just know that this energy, is very, very good for diving deep into these important topics. Now, it might not be the best idea to make long-term decisions unless the circumstance calls for it, so unless you have to do something important that's time sensitive, there's no way around it, or you have a gut feeling about it, something like that. But the retrograde cycle often brings a lot of confusion and reconsideration during the whole cycle. Okay, so now that we're getting into how these Scorpio transits are manifesting through the retrograde cycle, I want to start to give you some important dates. October 21st is the very important day when that window that we had where the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, which are the personal ones closest to us that can go retrograde. October 21st is the last point at which that changes, because we had everything going direct. So we were in a window of pushing forward, setting your boats afloat. The tides were going out. You're actively being the spider, going out and making webs all over the place, making things happen, conjuring, stuff to do and stuff to create and looking to the future. But as of October 21st, that started to shift. That's when the pre-shadow for Mercury retrograde started, and now everything's starting to go internal, right? So we start this long phase from October 21st to the middle of December, of course, covering all of November, where you are now on the shore. And instead of putting your boats and things out to float on the tides, to go out with the tides are coming in. So anything you try to put out there will come back right back to you. That could be great for like a promo or for something, an experiment or, beta or, something that you're trying to do that you're looking for immediate feedback. That's not the permanent launch. But anything that you try to put out there that's trying to be longer term, it's more likely that it will be shorter term than expected. Okay, so that's very important to know for this month. So October 21st, that starts. Then November 9th, Mercury officially goes into retrograde until the 29th when it goes direct. And then December 17th is the next magical day when we are now free from the entire Mercury retrograde cycle. And we have open stars again, free from personal planet retrogrades. So if you've got to do something big, it's not time sensitive to do right now. You may want to use this time, this research orientedness of Scorpio. Also, Scorpio planets move through Virgo's third house of Gemini, which is another research oriented, like a gathering information. This is a very important month for gathering information, for considering things, for having the meetings of the mind of what you may want to do, looking at different scenarios. But to actually implement things, if they're supposed to be long-term things, feel into waiting until, the middle of December when you have more oomph and the tides will then be going out. Okay, so relatives, all of your relatives, cousins, aunts, uncles, parents, kids are going to be having notable things going on here, as the third house of your relatives, like cousins, aunts, uncles, all those, and the fourth house of your parents and your kids and your immediate family are both going to be very strongly highlighted. So every family member has a chance to have something notable. Since Mercury is in retrograde, you may go back and see family, or they may come back and see you, or you may hear from them. You may, reconsider a project that you were working on. There may be something, notable going on here. And if you've been wanting to get in touch with one of these relatives, this could be a really good time to kind of rekindle, that close family relationship, or to go back over things that need to be dealt with and resolved if there are some things, left unsaid or undone. So you'll be diving deep into the waters of emotion, your emotions and other people's emotions. I'm calling a general theme for this month for all signs, the labyrinth and the labyrinth and the lantern, because the Scorpio energies are like the labyrinth. So you'll be diving deep into the mystery, those unknown, those weird things, like the money and the spiritual things and the psychological things that are really nebulous and hard to kind of keep straight or understand in some cases. And then the Sagittarius energies, which are plenty, are the lantern. They sort of bring the creative solutions, the light in the abyss of trying to get things sorted out. So it's a very powerful combination. And they also make steam, so it can be very productive despite the retrograde. Now, one more thing, actually just a couple more things I want to mention about this month through an analogy that I like to use for understanding Mercury retrograde. So just bear with me a second, because if you listen to this whole piece, you will not only be really well equipped to understand the energies of this time, now you will also forevermore better understand the Mercury retrograde and the cycle before, the shadow periods before and after. It will give some understanding to the jargon that's used. So just bear with me a second, because it's going to be a very important component of navigating through this month in the best ways. So I liken a retrograde cycle like having to slow down to make a U-turn, right? So October 21st, you realize, oh, I got to make a U-turn. You start slowing down. The rest of the traffic's still going the same speed, and you have to move over several lanes to get to the middle point to turn around. So there's that awkwardness where things were flowing and now they start not flowing. You'll feel that between October 21st and November 9th. Awkwardness, things slowing down, but you trying to, like things being chaotic and haywire and miscommunications and appliances going haywire, and, you'll feel that. So now the days around November 9th, you get to the median. Okay, this is when Mercury goes retrograde. You get to that median, but you've got to make sure that your front end is not going to get clipped by traffic going that way. You have to make sure your back end isn't going to get clipped by traffic, like that awkwardness of positioning yourself just in the right way while traffic is speeding on both sides of you. So the days around November 9th are especially awkward. Some people think, oh, it's November 7th. I can do everything that I shouldn't do in Mercury retrograde now. No, that's not true, because those energies are getting stronger every day from October 21st. And in these days around the 9th, they're extra chaotic. So now from the 9th to the 29th, you're sitting there in the median waiting for your opportunity to dive back into traffic, and it is just not opening up. So things are stalled out. Things are like you're moving through mud. If you're trying to force something, that's how it will feel. Now, you could be the person that sits in the median listening to your favorite podcast or music that you like, and then you can actually enjoy the time that you're waiting and be relaxed and wait for your perfect opportunity and the timing to be aligned. Or you can be stressed and forced and trying to make things happen. And those are the two different ways you can approach Mercury retrograde. If when these things slow down, you just let it. If it's something that doesn't really have to be done, just be discerning about it and know that the stars are slowing things down in that way. What often happens in a time of retrograde is some things will slow down and other things will speed up. That's partly because there are other planetary forces at play that may be causing some speed ups in certain areas and then slowdowns in other ones. But if you respond to like you're trying to make something happen and it's not working out, you step away from it and then suddenly something else lights up. Now you align your energy with that. Things can be much smoother for you. And that is my goal for you, is to just have the most smooth time by understanding these energies. So you're hanging out, listening to something that you enjoy safely in the median, waiting for your opportunity between November 9th and November 29th. Now your opportunity comes in the days around the 29th. You're going to be getting back out into traffic, going the direction you want to go. These days are, again, very sketchy, even a little bit more dangerous, more chaotic, as these energies are regulating. Like, just imagine a mass moving and that awkwardness of slowing it down to try to change directions, that awkwardness that you feel, that is what it is like during this time. So once it goes direct, then you have until the 17th before you get up to speed with the traffic that's going now in the direction that you're facing and going, okay? So then everything's clear, okay? So now you can kind of see what this month will be like. Full of plenty of opportunity to chill out, deal with what the waves, the tides bring to you, be your spider in the webs that you've woven in the more clear times, and hang out, wait for food to come to you. This is a time to rest on your laurels a little bit and to scale down your ambitions. If you've got long-term ideas and long-term plans, that's great. You could be making micro steps towards those things. But in general, also imagining this lantern, like if you're walking through a labyrinth and the lantern is only going to show you a few steps ahead. So don't try to go further than those few steps ahead. And that is going to match the energies of the Scorpio and the Sag right now, and that's going to match the energies of the retrograde. Okay, so now back to those negotiations. If you are gathering information, you can kind of see how trying to implement something from that research or from those conversations might be a little bit awkward. So just kind of feel your way through and apply this to your situation. Now, as the month progresses, the Sun will get to Sag very early in the month. Mars will get to Sag. Black Moon Lilith literally just changes from Scorpio into Sag that first day. Mercury going to go retrograde in Sagittarius back into Scorpio, and star goddesses Juno, Astraea, or Vesta and Astraea are all going to be in Sagittarius. So, as the month progresses, the Sag energy from the start will develop very strongly. And this is going to bring freedom and fun and adventure and possibilities and a drive towards learning and teaching and bringing in information and doing something important and lofty goals and, all of that. So you'll be feeling that sage on a mountain looking down at the bigger picture type of energy. while you also have the very deep, probing Scorpio energy. So it's a time to go deep and it's a time to go broad. All right. And this is just the nature of the time. Now, the Sag energy is very uplifting. It can also have a lot of creative solutions. And specifically for Virgo, this is lighting up your fourth house of home and family and housing and real estate and your inner world and your ancestry and your genetics. So you may find that you are very interested in diving into your ancestry, your, ethnicities, places where your ancestors lived. You may be looking into your genetic coding to try to have optimum wellness. You may be studying or learning about psychological topics, or you may be studying for a real estate exam. But this is a huge time for study, and Mercury retrograde is actually an amazing time for studying. So you may find yourself going on a bender from an education perspective. And the energy of the zealot is going to be seen this month. Okay, so life is Virgo. Look out for turning into a zealot, even more so than you may already be at this time, because Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars, which is, this planet of obsession, also ruled by Pluto, which is another obsessive planet. And then Sagittarius is ruled by excessive Jupiter / Zeus. All right. So there's excess and there's zealotry aplenty at this time. And you may find that either there's an excess of things to deal with in your home and family, or an excess of things that you're excited about doing in those arenas. But, you will have to try to apply some balance, because it's definitely going to be lending itself towards excess. Okay, let's go over some more important dates. We've got November 5th, we've got the full moon. Actually, that's a super moon as well. In Taurus, that's 13 degrees. October, November, December, we've got 3 super moons in a row. And that means that the moon is closer. It may look bigger. Its gravitational forces may be noticeably stronger. And, you will be feeling that. So in the days around the 5th, really that's going to be the first week to 10 days of the month. You'll be feeling this like building and then kind of starting to wind down. Fullness, completion, fruition, drama, coming to finances. That's the second house of Taurus, is, rules that energy. In the beginning of the month, you've got Venus, which rules Taurus there. So we've got some individual financial focus here, not just the shared resources happening. So there may be a big purchase, a big sale, something important that comes in from a financial or a material perspective. Could also be an eco-conscious earth topic. Maybe, you finally grow the sunflowers that you've been wanting to grow. Or, if you're a maker, you could have a big accomplishment. I always like to think of Taurus energy. I mean, makers can be in any sign, but if you make things with your hands, there's a certain Taurian element to that. So in that first week to 10 days of the month, there's this, this building process of this fullness, of this material creation coming to pass. Then I gave you the Mercury retrograde dates. Okay, the 11th, we've got Jupiter going retrograde. So not only is Mercury going to start dialing some things back, Jupiter's going to start dialing some things back. So you'll notice certain things, maybe in home and family, because Jupiter's going through the sign of Cancer, which rules the 4th house. Or maybe in your area of friendships and teams and groups and large organizations and community and internet and social media. Jupiter's been working to expand those spaces since June. You might have even noticed it a few months before then, starting to perk up. But now, as Jupiter goes in retrograde, there may be things going backwards. There may be things moving more slowly. It may seem like the momentum is going away. You don't have to be worried, because very likely a better version of what that expansion was will come back. It's like a discernment process. So Jupiter wants to build a skyscraper, and now in retrograde, it's checking its foundation to make sure it can build the highest and best, strongest skyscraper for you. But you will see certain things start to slow down. And again, what I talked about with the Mercury retrograde. If you notice certain things are slowing down, this isn't the time to force those. If it's necessary, if it's you have to put food on the table, you have to do basic important things, responsible things, then you may have to push through those. But if it's something that really doesn't need to be done, that discernment process of what may actually need to be done, can be implemented. And if you just honor the slowdowns and know that these things will likely come back around. Jupiter does a retrograde thing for around 4 months. So that's a little bit longer of a process than you'll have to wait for Mercury to come back around. But it's just something to be aware of. And then on the 27th, Saturn goes direct. So some long-term things you've been working on may actually start blasting forward here right in the midst of all of this retrograde energy. And so this can explain why this happens, why you may see certain Saturnian type things, discipline, hard work, employment, career, things might start turning around with Saturn moving direct. Now, my favorite date of the year, now always remember when I give you dates, you'll feel the energies in the days around the date. It's not usually just one day. November 26th, we've got an amazing aspect between Venus in Scorpio and Jupiter in Cancer. This is all also in a nice elemental flow for you as an earth sign. And so Venus, which rules love, beauty, money, finances, relationships, is going to be in the best possible angle with Jupiter, the great expander, the great benefic, the bringer of luck. So, you may have some extra luck or some extra romance or some, you may win something on that date. Someone may give you something. Just something special may happen in the days around that time. Now, if you love the dates and you want more of them, go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, grab that free star report with my sweet and salty dates for November. It's a very detailed report. I put a lot into it, and it will really help equip you not only with a written version of some of the information I gave you in this report, but also a lot of aspects I did not talk about, because we've got 14 really great aspects this month. So you can go there to get that. If you want to learn astrology, you also get mini lessons at AnnieHelpsYou.com when you enter the VIP group for free. But if you want to go deeper and you want to have a comprehensive education system, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com. If you want to see my take on what the outer planets are doing in your personal chart, and I have another great personalized report there, go to anniebclarity.com, Annie, the letter B, clarity.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.